What's up, everybody? This is Lisa Lozano with Global Fight Talk, and I have what I would say the famous referee here, the one who has officiated so many famous fights, and we have so many great questions. I have so many things that I want to ask about, and I have none other than Tony Weeks. Tony, thank you so much for coming on Global Fight Talk. I greatly appreciate you taking the time out, especially on Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah. No, thank you. It's my honor. I appreciate you. You allow me to come on your show.
Yes, definitely. Well, you know what? While I was doing some research, I noticed something. I didn't realize this is that I didn't know referees had box recs.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. There's a listing. Yeah, of every fight. Well, pretty much every fight that we've done from the beginning.
yeah, I was looking you up and I said, oh, Tony Weeks used to fight. So I was trying to look at your fight record. I was like, no, this is what he refereed in the past, which is so cool.
Hmm.
Um, One of the things I wanted to ask is how did you get started? Did you ever box when you were younger, or is this something that you just, decided, oh, I just want to be a referee because I'm such a fan?
Well, it was a combination of things. I actually, I was more into martial arts coming
Okay.
up. Growing up in Brooklyn. But at the time, of course, I was an Ali fan, and every time Ali fought, we would watch it either on closed circuit TV there, or on Wide World of Sports. Then afterwards, all the kids we would gather around and put the gloves on, and we would box, But I was always into the boxing game, and I started actually. I started when I was a supervisor at the federal prison. I was a recreation supervisor there, and we had an inmate there who was a boxer. And
Hold on. Which inmate is this? Because there has been an inmate that's been in prison that is now famous, that's now a world champion.
Well, I can't name his name, but
Okay.
no, he wasn't professional.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, we had one of the local trainers there,
Uh-huh.
Willie Borchet. This was when I was living in Phoenix, Arizona, and he was interested in training the fighter when he got out. So I decided, since I was in the recreation department, I decided, you know what, maybe we can bring up a couple of fighters and put a little exposition in. And let the fighters get in there and box and entertain the inmates. And what I did was I brought some professional fighters in, and I got permission that the inmate could do a little boxing exhibition with one of the fighters. So I set it up, like it was. We had the in the rec yard. We had to set up the ring in the rec yard and had the chairs all around it. And it actually looked like an actual boxing arena. Uh, Make a long story short, the guys got up there and they started boxing, and then it dawned on me and said, "Man, I need to get a referee," and I guess it was just more curiosity. I asked the trainer at the time, "Hey, you mind if I get up there and do it?" He says, "No, go ahead and do it." And I tell you, I got up there and it was like love at first sight. I mean, instantly, I fell in love with it. I said, "This is what I want to do," you know. And one of the trainers, he passed away, Beto Martinez, uh, 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 and he at the end of the show, he asked me if I ever done that before. I said no. He says, "Well, I think you should do it. You got good natural movements." And he took it a step further and called the Arizona State Boxing Commission, and the rest is history.
Well, on your box rec, you have 835 fights that you have officiated, according to box rec. According to box rec, I'm sure we're not counting the other stuff that you officiated.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you do have a lot, and you have officiated a lot of fights that people are major fights, and one of the fights that everybody talks about is the Brown versus Jack, the Bondu fights. There's a picture of you where you were just full, I mean, just covered in blood.
Yes.
And what were you thinking when that happened? Because when I saw his cut, it looked horrible.
Hmm.
And what were you thinking? I mean, you get to see these fighters, you're up close and personal with them. I
Hmm.
mean, in your mind, you're like, oh, damn. Are you cussing in your head like, play it cool, Tony?
Well, a lot of things go through your head when you're in the midst of the action, but yeah, that was a very, very bad cut. That was the worst cut I ever seen that I was involved in. The good thing about that cut was it was in the middle of the forehead,
Yeah.
so it was draining down the sides of his nose. It wasn't getting in his eye. Um, and the funny thing about it was I didn't notice the blood on me, but in between rounds, I'm standing in the corner. I can see the picture, and all of a sudden, I'm looking, and all the photographers are facing my way, standing up and taking my picture. And what's going on? And I look down, like, oh my god, all this blood on me. It was just crazy. But yeah, that was a very, very bad cut. I took him over to the doctor twice, and the doctor gave it an okay. And the second time when I took him over to the doctor, and the doctor says okay, you can hear me ask Badu, hey, do you want to continue? Because it was a pretty bad cut, but he wasn't hurt or anything. It was just a nasty cut.
Right, right. And that leads to my next question. A lot of these fighters, they don't want the fight to be stopped. They don't want a TKO on their record. Do they ever come up to you when you're giving them the roles and they're like, hey, Tony, don't stop the fight. Let me go all 12 rounds or until I'm knocked out. Don't stop the fight. Do they ever tell you that?
Well, when yeah, when you go in the dressing room to give the instructions, you have some fighters and trainers. Hey, my guy, uh, he tends to take a lot of punches, but he'll be okay. If I'm hurt, don't stop it, whatever. Just like you said, and my response is, hey, first of all, it's my job to protect you, and it's your job to show me that you can continue to fight. So
Right.
I never take that into account. I just do my job accordingly.
Yeah, so like you said, a lot of their managers or their coaches, the fighters, they tell you, hey, don't stop the fight. But do you ever, study a fighter and know how they are or how they work, when they hurt or, that they bleed easily because a lot of, the cuts they've had in previous fights. Do you ever study their fight before you referee the actual fight? Do you ever study fighters like a coach studies their opponents?
Absolutely, absolutely. You want to know what the fighter his or her mannerism, how they take punches, how their fighting style. Some fighters are inside guys, some guys are just strictly boxers, movers, and what have you. And some guys, like I say, they're willing to take two or three shots just to get in to get that one shot. You see who's kind of a dirty fighter, using their head a lot or low blows or what have you. So yeah, I study, every pretty much every fight that I, officiate that I can get films on, and I don't go into the fight with any preconceived notions or anything. I just it's just in the back of my mind, how this fighter's style is.
Ego on the track.